Hello, 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 Facebook family. It's me, Shannon LaBruyere. I am live and loving it on Sunday. It's great to be here. It has been a fantastic week, and it's fixing up to be a great week coming up, and I am so excited to be able to share it with you. So thank you for joining me. Let me see. This week, so many cool things happened, but the one that I love is that I was able to talk with the strong women, the young women, strong leaders at Baker College. It was a fantastic time. About 100 young ladies from universities and colleges all around Michigan gathered together in Clinton Township at Baker College, and I was able to talk with them about the 4 principles that allow us all, young or old, to thrive and change. And it was powerful. Tim, hi, I'm glad you're here. And Rich Krieger, if that's Jan, Rich or Jan, you're both welcome. Hopefully it's both of you. Thanks you guys for jumping on. So it was a great time. I love spending time with young women, especially young people in general, because they have so many exciting things in their horizons. And I love being able to speak into that and help them to learn how to navigate it a little better, how to thrive when the challenges come. So it's pretty awesome. So that was fantastic. And then today was a top-notch day spent with the leaders of the Apostolic Church of Flat Rock. And what I love about that group is that when they decided to pull together the leaders of that congregation, they didn't just go with the people who have the titles, right? They went with the people who are involved in the congregation and who are influencers. And I love that because leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. So the fact that they recognize that the pastors there, Pastor Gary Cook and his wife Carol, that they recognized that there are a lot more influencers in their congregation than what have titles, and they wanted them to grow, was a pretty powerful thing. And you could tell that the group loved it. They loved that people were pouring into them, that they were recognized as being influencers, which they are. And I loved working with them because they leaned in and wanted to learn. So it was pretty cool. Hi, Carol, I see you there. Yeah, so that was fantastic. So 2 really great events, and I just had the best time. For those of you who are in the Detroit metro area or the Blue Water area, out Port Huron, Marysville way, I'm going to be talking to the Compass Port Huron Business Association this Wednesday, and it's going to be a powerful time of communicating with like-minded individuals who want to do good in the world and also do good through their businesses. So it's going to be pretty powerful. I'm excited about that coming up. And I'm most excited right now to be talking to you. It is a little bit after 7, so we're going to get started. Yay! I am really excited to talk a little bit more about purpose because the response was so enthusiastic from last week when we were talking about purpose. Shay, welcome. Aaron, I love having you here. You guys are awesome. I'm glad you're jumping in just in the nick of time because we're just getting started. And before we get too far into what I'm going to talk about tonight, I wanted to just go over the 3 points that Davin Salvano from Purpose Point talked with us about last week, just to refresh you of the 3 things that he said that we could do to start to find our purpose. The first one is, what are we naturally good at? The second one is, what does the world need that I'm good at? Right? So it's not just that I'm good at it, it's actually something the world needs. And then the third thing is, in a professional sense, how can I make money doing that thing? So those were the 3 starting points that he gave us about finding our purpose. And I loved that he gave us all a head start on that because I'm going to be dead honest with you. I did not find my purpose for many years, and it was a frustrating journey. And so that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. The purpose by default or by design. Julie, welcome. Thanks for jumping on. purpose by default or by design. So, let me find my note here. When I was a young woman, I went to college. I went to church. I was part of a youth group. I was involved in a lot of different groups and ministries. I was part of student organizations, and I can't tell you how many times I would be involved in one of those aspects of my life, and a speaker would come in and they would speak from the bottom of their heart how important it was for us to have a purpose and how we were created for a purpose and that we were designed with a purpose. And I did not have a purpose. In fact, I felt multi-purpose. I was convinced that I was the jack of all trades and the master of none, and that was my purpose. So, in a twisted way, I thought my purpose was to have no purpose. And I labored under that misguided notion for years. And this is why I was able to hold on to that notion and it didn't disturb me too much. It was because I was getting opportunities to do things that actually were in alignment with my purpose. I just didn't have the label to slap on that and say, yep, that's your purpose, Shannon. It wasn't as cut and dried as that. So for most of my professional career, I worked for the United States Postal Service, and it was a great organization to work for and with, and I am so grateful for it. And as I was in there, I got a lot of opportunities. And it was almost as if I was in this really big pinball machine. If you can picture, if you've ever been to an arcade, I felt like I was in a pinball machine and I was one of the pinballs, and somebody had pulled back on that lever and boom, they fired me out there. And I was just bouncing around, and once in a while, a manager would see I had something in me that looked like, oh, that could help my department, and bink, they'd flip a flipper and I'd go off in that direction. And I'd stay in that direction a while, and I would do fun things that I enjoyed, things that I found satisfying, because a manager had seen something in me that they knew, wow, Shannon would be good at that. And so they'd flip that flipper and off I would go. And then, maybe that assignment would start to sunset, come to an end, and before you knew it, there would be another manager who would notice, wait a minute, that assignment's getting ready to end for Shannon. I'd like her over in my department. And bing, they'd flip that flipper, and Shannon, the pinball, would go flying into another department. And for years, I'm going to say blessed. I was blessed to be able to have a path in the organization that I spent 31 years serving. I was blessed to have a path that somebody else would recognize what I was good at. They would recognize what I was good at, what they could use that for, and they had a built-in way to pay me for it. So my purpose was being unspoken, but it was being recognized. And because of that, I was laboring under this assumption that I just didn't have a purpose. I could just do anything. And, hey, what do you need me to do? I can sweep floors. I can go on television. I can be a spokesperson. I can write a newsletter. What do you want? I'll do it. And all of that sort of lulled me into this position of not caring if I had a purpose or not. And that matters. And it matters for those of you who are listening, because I want you to know, I do believe that every one of us has a purpose. I believe we were created and designed with certain skills and talents and likes and dislikes and certain qualities that uniquely position us to make a contribution in this world that no one else could make. It's us or no one. If Shannon doesn't fill her spot, nobody's going to be able to fill Shannon's spot. Thankful for those of you who are jumping on. Herman, I'm so glad you're here. Diane, so glad to see you. Wes, thanks for jumping on. We're talking about purpose here, and in specifics, the fact that I was sort of accidentally living my purpose, but it was because other people were recognizing it and assigning it to me. And so I spent many, many years thinking, I don't have a purpose, but I'm doing a fine job and everybody else seems to be noticing what I can do and I'm fine. I was living my life by default. I was living my life by default. And you know what? That's not all bad as long as the default keeps getting you a little bit closer to your goal, or if it's something you enjoy. But there came a time in my career and in my life where I realized I don't like what I'm doing. I'm not really good at what my new assignment is. The pinball machine of fortune for Shannon had quit paying off. That pinball, when they pulled it back and they fired Shannon off and things had been going well for so long, eventually one of those flippers flipped me somewhere that I didn't love. And that's when I started to get angry about not having a purpose. While I was living in alignment to my purpose without having a label on it, I was happy, I was fine. I didn't notice that I was living by default until my circumstances changed. And I want you to consider your circumstances right now. And if they're not ideal, that can be really difficult. And you have my sympathies because I know it can be difficult to not have a life situation that's working the way you want. Maybe a relationship's going bad. Maybe there's something going on at your work. But I want you to know that that tension, that disconnect, that thing that's making you unhappy and uncomfortable is the very thing that's going to help you realize what your purpose is. And it will help you, just like it helped me, stop living by default and start living by design. When we are living by default, excuse me, when we're living by default, other people are in charge of our lives. Other people are in charge of our lives. And when they give us an assignment, or when they ask us to do something, or when they put us on a path, they are doing it because of the benefit that it brings to them. That doesn't mean they're bad. It's just how people are wired. It's just how managers are wired. It's just how businesses are wired. But when we're living by design, we're the ones who are deciding what we need, where we need to go, and making sure we get what we need out of it. Julie, thank you. Yes. Yes, we can make the shift from living by default to living by design at that uncomfortable juncture where things aren't going the way we wanted. That's what happened to me. My work situation changed. I wasn't able to do the thing that I loved and felt like I was great at and was built to do, which was work with people and help people grow and communicate and mediate. I am a mediator at heart. I love to mediate people, two sides that are in conflict, or maybe the public and the private sectors, and bringing them together. That's what I was created to be. And when I wasn't able to use communication to help people to navigate and grow, I was frustrated. I had headaches. It physically took a toll on me, but it also made me wake up and realize I've been living by default and it's time to live by design. So if you are at that juncture in your life and in your career where you're thinking, I don't even know what I want to do. I don't know what I was born to do. I don't feel like I was born to do anything, but all I know is I am miserable. I don't like where I'm at. Be grateful, because that is the platform from which you are going to be able to launch. It's your turn now. Instead of letting other people make your decisions, it's your turn to decide, what am I good at? What do I love? I loved what Davin said last week when he said, what do people thank you for? What do they say about you when they say, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shay, for being such a bright light in a meeting. Thank you for being such a wise advisor. What do people thank you for? that is a giant road sign to what your purpose is. That's a big flashing light that says, hey, look over here. People think you're awesome at that. What I didn't realize when I got frustrated, when my job situation changed and I became frustrated and unhappy, what I didn't realize was that all those years when I thought, I don't have a purpose, I'm just floating along here and things are going great, what I didn't realize was that people were giving me clues. And when I started to reflect, I started to realize, I really enjoyed adding value there. I really enjoyed what I was doing with that group or with that group. I love what Julie's saying here. It's my turn. Yeah, it was my turn to decide. It's our turn to decide by design, what do we want to do? And we can look at some of our default actions and say, all right, where was I happy? There are some of you I know who are listening to this who have not been happy in a really long time. Your default has not been a happy, I'm in the pinball machine of life and I'm getting flipped over to all kinds of good places. That hasn't been your experience. Your default may have been sadness and depression and frustration. You may not have had the benefit of having the positive experiences that the rest of us may have had. But I want you to know that there were still clues. And you can look back, even while you were living by default, you can look back and decide, where was I happy? Where was I doing something that mattered? Where did I feel significant? And what I recognized in my depression, with my neck killing me, my headaches every day, the commute that was just making me physically tired and exhausted and also putting me in pain, all of those things, I was able to step back from that and say, all right, it's time to stop living by default. If I could do anything I wanted to do, what would it be? And I gave myself permission to start exploring, do I even have a purpose? And if I do, what would it be? And I opened myself up without the 3 little helpful hints, by the way, that get you started. I didn't have anything to go on. I just knew that I was tired of living by default and I wanted to live by design. So let this be an encouragement to you. It is your time to design your future. You get to choose what you do and what you don't do. And I believe that we are responsible to choose well. Each of us has a gift. We have a spot. There's a Shannon-shaped spot in this world. And if nobody fills that, if I don't fill it, it'll be empty. I have to be the one. I believe that about you too. And what's beautiful about it is when I started discovering my purpose, when I started realizing I love to work with people. I love to work with people who love to work with me. For a long time, I worked with hostages. That's what I call them. Just for a long time, I worked with people who they were told they had to work with me. Yes, you are going to be meeting with Shannon. You guys have issues. We need to get them resolved. Go fix it. That wasn't what got me excited. That wasn't where my purpose lies. My purpose lies in working with people like you. People who have intentionally tuned in to say, I want to grow. I want to be better. I am open to learning a new way to navigate my life and to thrive no matter what's happening. I can tell you this 100% for sure. Now that I've begun living my life by design, I started back in April of 2015 and said, I'm going to retire from this postal service at my earliest eligibility. And when I do that, I will have a business that's thriving, that is allowing me to contribute to people's lives, do meaningful work for people who care, and I will be living my purpose. And I didn't even know what my purpose was at the time. I just knew there was one, and I was going to pursue it, like Davin shared with us last week, relentlessly. I still continue to pursue it. But I am thrilled to tell you, Having done it, start now. Start now. Now is the time for you to decide, I am not going to live by default anymore. I'm going to do the hard work that it takes to reflect, to dig deep, and to discover what is it I want to do that is significant. Because when we do things that are significant, success always comes along with it. Yeah, I love those hearts. Yay. I'm glad you love it. It's really true. Now's the time. Now's the time. I am so glad that you tuned in and that I'm able to share with you pieces of my journey. And I just want you to know that my journey is not unique. You can have the same journey. Start now. Reflect. What am I good at? What do I love? How could I do that for somebody that they'd be willing to pay me to do it? Let's see. Julie says, this week I'm going on national radio. Good for you, Julie. Julie, you had mentioned a couple weeks back that that was something that you felt like you were called to do, that you should do, and you'd been putting it off. And I'm so thrilled to hear that you are taking the dive. That is amazing. Well done. Applause for Julie. I'm proud of you. That is amazing. Living your life by design. And you get to share some of your testimony. That's even better, isn't it? When we can share parts of our story. Now is the time, says Carol. Thank you for all you did for Apostolic Church of Flat Rock. Oh, my goodness. It was my pleasure to work with that team. Amazing. Lynn, you are welcome. You guys, go out there. Design your life. It will work out. It will. It will. And the beautiful news is, if it doesn't, you are resilient. You are equipped, you are smart, you are passionate, and you are pursuing your purpose relentlessly. And that means you will figure out what went wrong, you'll adjust, and you'll keep going. Because that's what we do when we thrive. We relentlessly pursue. We get feedback when we do something. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. Adjust and jump right back in. You guys are amazing. One last thing, let me see. Oh, we got a few minutes. I can't see the clock on my phone. One thing I want to share with you is the Purpose Summit, which is April 29th and 30th at the Durfee Innovation Center in Detroit, Michigan. It's the inaugural Purpose Summit. Some of you have already enrolled, and I am so glad to welcome you. Ken is going to be there. Sylvia's going to be there. Kathy's going to be there. Missy's going to be there. I'm going to be there. I still have a few more coupon codes. It's $85 for 2 days from day until evening. I think it ends at 5. I could be wrong. 9 to 5. You'll have to check purposesummit.us to see the times. I'll put a link too in the show notes on this. $85, lunch is included. We're going to have a Miss Arkansas, Miss America contestant as one of the keynotes. Herman Moore from the Detroit Lions is going to be talking to us. We've got LinkedIn experts. We've got DISC personality assessment experts. We've got purpose experts. Everything you need to take that leap to discover your purpose is going to be right there at the Purpose Summit. And it's not too late to sign up. So I want to invite you to do that. If you guys have any questions or comments, pop them in. Let's see. Oh yeah, Julie, just encouraging us all. Keep at it and don't give up. Amen to that. You were created for a reason. You were created for a purpose. You can pursue it relentlessly. You will find it. I promise. If you need help with that, you can reach out to me. I help people discover their purpose many times a week. It is part of what I do that I love, and not just discovering people's purpose, but helping them get a plan. And Davin just popped on. Davin, we've been talking about you for the last 20 minutes, so thank you for being here. I was just telling everybody about the Purpose Summit and some of the great speakers that are going to be there. So thanks for popping on. You'll have to wave. If you wave, Davin, I'll bring you on if you want to tell us about some of the speakers. I could bring you on camera. Otherwise, you can maybe just pop a few of their names in the comments so that people can get a flavor. And again, I'll put that link for everybody. That's all I have, folks. That's it. Are you going to live your purpose by default or by design? You get to choose. And please choose design. It's so much better. Take it from someone who was a defaulter for 20 some years. Design is so much better, and you can have so much more impact. You guys have a great night. Frank, I'm so glad you jumped on. You'll have to do a quick rewind so you can see from the beginning. We've been talking about purpose. It's a pretty exciting topic. And thank you so much for everybody. Yeah, live your purpose by design. Thanks, Davin. You guys have a great night. Mwah! And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.